This is a narration of the video that my daughter Carolyn Camisar requested me to make. This is Aaron Isaacson, son of Jacob Isaacson. My grandfather is Aaron Isaacson. And the first picture we're going to see is a group picture of taken about a year after the family arrived here in America. In the center is my grandfather, Aaron Isaacson. This picture is showing now. And then to the upper left is Pincus, his brother, almost looks like a twin brother. There's Pincus. And to the right is an unknown person. If you know, let us know. And then on the laps is Uncle Reuben to the right and Aunt Rose to the left. Again, this is Aaron Isaacson, my grandfather, who was born in Russia on May 16, 1859. We don't know his mother's name, but he had a sister, Zelda, and I said before Pincus was his brother. This is a picture of my grandmother, Tanya Shapira Isaacson. She was born in Russia in the year 1860, died 8th of July in 1935. This picture was taken in her living room in the Bronx, New York. We were there over Christmas, my sister, brother, and father, mother, and I, and the whole family. And as you can see, the Christmas tree was in the background. She was very lovely and respectful of everyone. We got along really well and enjoyed her company. And the next picture coming up is a picture of Tanya and her grandchildren standing on the porch in Rockaway, where we used to go in the summer sometime. Tanya to the left, my sister June Isaacson Marks, and then myself, Aaron Isaacson, then Yolana Isaacson Cass, and to the left of over June is my brother Frank, and we all spent some nice times there. This picture was taken, I think, on occasion when my Uncle Julius was standing in the upper middle, and I think the lady he has his arms around, his name was Blossom. But anyhow, it was on a special occasion. And the people involved here are, down to the lower left, my mother, Alice, my father, Jacob. To my father's left is my brother, Frank. To his left is my sister, June. Above June is Aunt Rose. That's the lady sitting on one of the kids sitting on my grandfather's lap. To Aunt Rose's right is is Uncle Izzy. And of course, right in the middle is Tanya, my grandmother. In the upper, looking at the picture, in the upper left-hand corner is Reuben's wife, Rose. But we used to call her Reuben's Rose to differentiate her from Little Rose, my father's sister. Then, as I said, Uncle Reuben is next, Blossom, Uncle Julius. The gentleman standing next, I don't know. And the next two, I think, are Blanche and Bess, my Aunt Bess. As you probably have noticed, I am not in this picture. I was approximately 8 years old, very mature 8-year-old, and what I felt was my duty to stage everyone here and give Uncle Irv advice how to for the exposure and so on, so the picture will come out just perfect. As you can see, it was a failure. This picture is of Uncle Reuben's family, Reuben to the right, Aunt Rose, known as Reuben's Rose, to differentiate from my other Aunt Rose. And then there's Blanche and Yetta, who passed away at a very young age. Well, it has been just announced that the interpretation on the Scroll 8 of the Dead Sea Scrolls clarifies the parting of the waters by Moses, as actually were done by two plumbers in his caravan. One was Reuben, and the other was Israel, and was Isaacson was the last name. This is a picture of my Aunt Rose Isaacson Carno, who was a violinist and played under the name of Rose Nelson. She was born, I'm going to look at the paper now, March 26, 1889, and she married a short time when her husband died, and my wife and I, Gertrude, used to visit her quite often. She's a lovely lady, and we really very much enjoyed her company. This is my uncle Israel Isaacson, or as we called him, Uncle Izzy, who was born in February of 1890 in the United States. He was a plumber and a great guy, a World War I veteran, and the story goes that he was gassed during the war, and in my day, if he sat still for 10 minutes, he'd be sleeping. But he was married to Aunt Kate, who was another really great girl. I used to go visit them when I was in junior high in the Bronx, and they had a daughter, Yolanda. And I guess right now that's about all I've got to say about Uncle Izzy. Uncle Izzy ran or owned the plumbing store at 250 East 125th Street, and my mother, brother, father, so on, sister lived at 246, two doors west of that store. Uncle Izzy was always telling stories, and he told me as a little kid that there was a turtle loose in the store, and if I could find him, that I could keep him. But I never did find the turtle, and I don't know really if it was true. The next group of pictures here are concerning my uncle Julius, who was born in 1899 and spent most of his time in the Navy. He was in at least 2 wars and lost many ships. He's supposed to be an excellent swimmer. Yeah, good thing he was. And this picture shows Uncle Julius with my daughter Carolyn Camisar when she was visiting in California. After she graduated college, and before she went back. Aunt B, Uncle Jules married Aunt B later, after he got out of the Navy. Here's another picture of Uncle Julius. He's starting at the bottom. He's in the second group on the left, and he's a petty officer. He's on the Luxem, and this picture is made July 7th of 1931. I'm reading off the back of the picture here. And there's a bell. I don't know what kind of ship that was or is. The USS Luxem looks like 229. Here's another picture of Uncle Julius, and I don't know when that was taken, but Uncle Julius used to show up every now and then when I was a little guy and take us to the ice cream parlor, my sister and I, and I guess that one might have been No, it had been. Yeah, I don't remember just what ship he was on at that time, but he was still in uniform when I was about 9. And he was out a short time. He went to agriculture school on Long Island, and he would want to be a farmer. This is a picture of Uncle Julius and Aunt Bee, obviously more recent, taken in California, where he was living up until when he died, and they had adopted or taken in Frankie as a boy. This picture is of my grandmother Tanya sitting in her wheelchair. Well, she's actually not. She's sitting in a regular chair, but she was confined to a wheelchair. And the lady in the dark dress is Margaret, the lady that was hired to look after my grandmother because she was an invalid. The other side there is my Aunt Bess, who was married to Uncle Irv. And this picture now is Aunt Bess in California visiting my Uncle Julius and my Aunt Bee. My wife Gert and I had the opportunity to visit them in California also. They had a very nice setup out there with beautiful fruit trees in the backyard, and they had adopted a boy by the name of Frankie. I neglected to say that Aunt Bess was born in 1896, and she was married to Herb Bridgman. So that was Aunt Bess Bridgman. Thank you. This is a picture of my father, Jacob Isaacson, or Jack, as he was more likely to be known as. And he's shown here in his uniform during World War I, which he was a machine gunner and a ambulance driver. He used to drive the mules. Information on my father is born May 19th, 1895, died June 5th, 1977. This is a picture of my dad in the process of picking up laundry. He worked for a steam laundry on 125th Street, located the next building from where we lived on 246. My dad was the driver, and the other fellow there is a helper, and of course that's his truck. It was hard work, but he took care of it. All I remember about the laundry is that it had like a big sliding board that went down into the basement from the street, and it was made of wood. And one day a guy by the name of Miller decided he was going to slide down. He used that as a sliding board, and he got a splinter into his rear end as big as a baseball bat. He had to be operated on in order to get it out, and I don't know how he made out. He wasn't around that long thereafter. I hope he's doing fine now. So this is a picture of my dad standing in the doorway of a barn in Red-Back, New Jersey. Looking at the picture, my father is on the right. He always loved horses, and he actually was a teamster, and he had a team of mules during World War I that were pulling the ambulance that he was in charge of. And then when he got out, he was delivered laundry, obviously for hand laundry, by way of a horse and wagon. And the story goes that I was told that one day, while he was very young, maybe still in his 20s, the horse that was pulling the wagon took the bit in his mouth and was running away with my father. This took place in Manhattan, and Upper Manhattan. And some black man came out, ran alongside, grabbed the horse, calmed them all down and maybe saved my father's life. And all he said, according to my father, was, "You okay, son?" "Yep," and he walked away. It was a nice thing to happen, especially for race relations. I think maybe a relative of that guy is now president. You never can tell. And we, as I said, this was on Red Bank, New Jersey, and it was a farm, a relative of this guy, Chris, an Italian fellow that was a good friend of my father's. And we went to the farm on a weekend. We stayed all weekend. It was very nice. First time I ever had that much contact with the farm animals and farms and so on. And Chris and my dad used to make what they call Guinea Red, Italian wine, in their basement. And every now and then I would go with 2 glass jugs and paper bags up to the Bronx and come back with two glass jugs of wine, red wine, in the bag. And I knew everybody was looking at me. I didn't know whether to be proud or scared or what. But it all worked out good. And my dad would have a few drinks of wine, and we would sing. And it was a lovely, lovely time. But this is my mother, Alice, Devaney, Hayes, Albrecht, Isaacson. She had a whole bunch of names. She was born in July of 1901, and she died in June of 1979. This is a picture of my mother at the 50th wedding anniversary of my mother and father. I was there. In fact, almost everybody was there that knew about it. I don't know who knew about it and who didn't, but anyhow, it's over by now. And she looks really good, don't she? That's my little Irish mama. Yep. This is a picture taken of my dad, again during the same 50th wedding anniversary party. And my dad was born in the United States in 1895, died in June of 1977 after some protracted illness. And he looked pretty good, did pretty good, had a good life, and I miss him. Yep. This is a picture of my mom in the younger days, and I think was taken before I was born, and I really don't know much about it, but I think I'm following this up with a picture of my mother and father together when they were, I assume they were courting because they look like they're unmarried. Well, this is the way I'm going to close this video. Picture of my father and mother that I had mentioned before, although that's not the same headshot, so I guess this is a different picture. Obviously my father on the left, my mother on the right. Exactly when it was taken, I don't know, but maybe someone can identify the car in the background. So, as I said before, this is my attempt at introducing or reintroducing the family to the family, and I wish you all Godspeed and have a good life.